Do you guys see what is on the screen right now? That is my bracket coming into the Stanley Cup playoffs, and there's a lot of gray on there. And as you can see, I did not get one single first round prediction correct, and I think that's pretty impressive. I think I deserve a round of applause for that, to not get one single matchup correct. But nonetheless, in today's video, I want to take a look back at the first round and give you guys 5 players who I think looked very, very impressive. And these could be on teams that were eliminated or on teams that are continuing to fight for the Stanley Cup. And there could have been a lot of players. I'm not going to do an honorable mentions or anything, but if one of your favorite players is not on this list, don't just go hating in the comments, because I really could have made this like a top 15, but these are just 5 players who to me looked very, very impressive, and I'm not including goalies because I think goalies of all the winning teams looked very, very good. But without further ado, let's get right into it. These are 5 NHL players who looked incredible in the first round of the 2019 Stanley Cup playoffs. Starting off, since it's probably fresh in everyone's memory, I went with Jacob Slavin of the Carolina Hurricanes. Now, last night he had a phenomenal Game 7, and throughout the regular season, Jacob Slavin as a 24-year-old was very, very impressive. In 82 games, he had 8 goals and 23 assists for 31 points, and he was one of the more reliable defensemen on this Carolina Hurricanes team. But in the first round of the playoffs, Jacob Slavin played like an all-star caliber defenseman. In 7 games, he had 0 goals, but he had 9 assists for 9 points and was a +4, and the majority of the time he was out there trying to shut down the Ovechkin line and, trying to shut down Kuznetsov and those guys. So I think it was very, very impressive what Jacob Slavin did, and I think without him, the Carolina Hurricanes probably wouldn't be in the position that they are in right now, advancing on to the Eastern Conference semifinal. But I definitely love how Jacob Slavin played in the first round of the playoffs, and he definitely is going to be a huge part of Carolina moving forward. And I think if they want to make a deep run and try to maybe go to the Stanley Cup final, Jacob Slavin is going to have to replicate this. Probably not 9 points every round, but definitely keep up that fantastic play. Next up is Mikko Rantanen of the Colorado Avalanche. Now, I could have went with Nathan MacKinnon for this, but I decided to go with Rantanen just because when I was watching this series, it seemed like he was a step ahead of every single player on the Calgary Flames, and it seems like they just really couldn't keep up with him. Some people think Mikko Rantanen is overrated, and I can see where they're coming from in terms of his stats kind of being inflated from playing with Nathan MacKinnon, but Mikko Rantanen is a superstar caliber player in my opinion, and I think he deserves all the respect and all the recognition that he gets. Obviously, he had a phenomenal regular season where in 74 games he had 31 goals and 56 assists for 87 points, and in 5 playoff games this year against the Calgary Flames, he had 5 goals and 4 assists for 9 points. Obviously, some pretty huge points coming there with his game-tying goal to send one of the games to overtime and then scoring the overtime winner in that same game as well. So I think the story of the series was just Calgary being a little bit too slow and not being able to keep up with the top stars on this Colorado team, and Colorado looks like they could be primed for a pretty deep playoff run, especially if you have your top line of MacKinnon, Rantanen, and Landeskog playing like they did in the first round. I definitely think they will have to keep it up though, because they have a very, very tough matchup in the next round in the San Jose Sharks. Next up is the only player on this list that isn't advancing to the second round, but I just had to put him in this video, and that is Mark Stone of the Vegas Golden Knights. And this trade for Vegas is just looking like it is going to be an amazing deal moving forward, especially that it came with that contract extension, because in my opinion, he's going to be the superstar of this team moving forward. He might even be the future captain of this team, and he's only 26 years old. And in the regular season, mind you, this was split between the Senators and the Golden Knights, but most of it was with the Senators. 77 games played, 33 goals and 40 assists for 73 points, and in 7 playoff games against the San Jose Sharks, where they eventually fell short in Game 7 overtime, Mark Stone had 6 goals and 6 assists for 12 points, showing that he can be a superstar caliber player at the playoff level as well. And I think for Vegas, that is a very, very encouraging sign. Yes, their season did come to an end a little bit shorter than fans and the organization may have wanted, but I definitely think there is a lot of great signs on this Vegas team, and in my opinion, they're most definitely going to be back next year. Next up is Jordan Eberle, and I kind of forgot the Islanders were even in the playoffs because they haven't been playing for so long, because they made such quick work of the Pittsburgh Penguins. But Jordan Eberle was fantastic in those 4 games that he did play against the Pittsburgh Penguins, and in my opinion, he was a huge reason why they were actually able to sweep the Penguins. He's a 28-year-old, so obviously he's not young anymore, he's in his prime, and he kind of had a lackluster regular season in terms of his production, because I know he can be a 50-point scorer. He had 19 goals and 18 assists assists for 37 points in 78 games in the regular season. But coming into the playoffs, in my opinion, he was kind of an X factor because a lot of the defenses are going to be loading up and really preparing for Matt Barzal, Josh Bailey, and Anders Lee and those guys. But Jordan Eberle kind of came in under the radar and really had himself a fantastic 4 games where he had 4 goals and 2 assists for 6 points. And in my opinion, he kind of caught the Pittsburgh Penguins off guard, just like being able to show that finishing ability, because Jordan Eberle, when he was in Edmonton, it looked like he was going to be a future star in the NHL, but he never really kind of turned into that. He just turned into like a decent top 6, kind of role player that can give you maybe 20 goals on the year. But Jordan Eberle definitely showed up in these 4 games in the playoffs, and he's going to be a huge part for the New York Islanders if they want to make a deeper run. And now the last player we're going to talk about in this video is Thomas Hertl of the San Jose Sharks. And Thomas Hertl this year really turned into a star caliber player. He had a breakout season, and we kind of all saw this coming, especially people within the San Jose organization and the fans of the San Jose Sharks, because he has all the makings of being a fantastic NHL player. He's a 25-year-old centerman, and this year in 77 games he had 35 goals and 39 assists for 74 points, and in 7 playoff games, all coming against the Vegas Golden Knights, he had 6 goals and 2 assists for 8 points, showing that he really can be the future of this team. And I think for the San Jose Sharks, that is a very, very encouraging sign, because some of the stars on this team are getting a little bit up there in age, with like Pavelski. Logan Couture, not so much, but still he's not getting any younger. But when you look at this team, you have young guys like Thomas Hertl, like a Jonas Donskoy, like a Timo Meier, coming up to really take over the reins once all those guys aren't the players that they are right now. I definitely think this organization is still moving in the right direction in terms of being able to compete right now and still having a good team for the future. And this definitely could be one of the favorites left to win the Stanley Cup, and I think Thomas Hertl will be a huge part of that if they want to make a deeper run in the playoffs. So that is going to wrap up this video. I really hope you guys did enjoy, and like I said at the start, if your favorite player or if a player you think was phenomenal wasn't on this list, that doesn't mean I didn't think they did good. I just wanted to narrow it down to 5 players, and I didn't include any Columbus guys because I think their whole team just looked very, very good. But with that being said, I hope you guys all enjoyed the video. If you did, please make sure to drop a like on it and subscribe to the channel for daily NHL content, and I will see you guys all in the next video.